When I'm standing up, I have my 85 or 90 kilogram on the foot pegs, and the foot pegs are only that from the soil. So my center of gravity is very low because the
হ্যালো বন্ধুরা, আজকে নতুন ব্লগে তোমাদের সবাইকে ওয়েলকাম করছি। তো আজকে অলরেডি লেট হয়ে গেছে আমার বাড়ি থেকে বেরোতে, তো 6:30 প্রায় বাজে। তো তাড়াহুড়ো করেই বেরিয়েছি। সকালবেলা পাপানকে বলেছিলাম পাপানকে তুলবো, পাপানকে আর তোলা হয়নি, কারণ যেখানে যেতে চলেছি সেখান থেকে সকালবেলায় কল এসেছিলো যে সকালবেলা তাড়াতাড়ি শুরু হবে এবং তাড়াতাড়ি রিপোর্টিং করতে, আর রিপোর্টিং না করলে মানে রেজিস্ট্রেশন না করলে সেখানে আমরা যেতে পারবো না। তো যাই হোক, আমি তাড়াহুড়ো করে রাস্তায় বেরিয়ে পড়েছি, চলছি আমাদের আজকে গন্তব্যস্থিকে। হ্যাঁ, আজকে আমরা কোথায় যাচ্ছি, কি যাচ্ছি, সেই জিনিস বা সেই জায়গাটা সম্পর্কে আমি আস্তে আস্তে তোমাদেরকে বলবো। তো সেটা হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ সেটাই বলবো অবশ্যই। সেটা আমরা আজকে চলেছি একটা জায়গাতে, সেটা যেখানে আমরা বাইক রাইডিং বা অ্যাডভেঞ্চার বাইক রাইডিংয়ের ব্যাপারে আমরা শিখবো অনেক কিছু। তো কোথায় চলেছি সেটাও তোমাদের বলছি। সেটা হচ্ছিলো কেটিএম চৌরঙ্গি। তো কেটিএম চৌরঙ্গি থেকে একটা অ্যাডভেঞ্চার একাডেমি, মানে তোমরা যারা কেটিএম রাইড করো বা কেটিএমের বাইক চালাও তারা জানো যে কেটিএমে অ্যাডভেঞ্চার একাডেমি রয়েছে। তো সেখান থেকে অফ রোডের বা অ্যাডভেঞ্চার মোটরসাইকেল চালানোর জন্য যে যে ট্রেনিংগুলো দরকার সেগুলো নিয়ে একটা ট্রেনিং হতে চলেছে। তো সেখানেই আজকে আমি চলেছি। তো কেটিএম চৌরঙ্গিতে রেজিস্ট্রেশন হবে ফার্স্টে, তো সেখানে আমাকে রিপোর্টিং করতে হবে। রিপোর্টিং করার পর ওখান থেকে আমরা যেখানে ট্রেনিংটা হবে সেখানে আমরা সবাই মিলে যাব। তো আমি বেরিয়ে পড়েছি, রাস্তায় রয়েছি। চলো বাকিটা এবার রাস্তাতে দেখাই কীভাবে যাচ্ছি। অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমাদের আস্তে আস্তে অনেক লেট হয়ে গেছিলো। তো আমি জাস্ট যখন ঢুকলাম তো তখন অলরেডি শুরু হয়ে গেছিলো। তো আমাদের গ্রুপ রাইড করার আগে সেখানে কী কী ইনস্ট্রাকশন ছিল সেটা আমরা শুনে নিলাম।
So this is in a nutshell what we will do today. If you have any question, please shoot. Obviously, I'm very fluent in Bengali. I'm sure you know it. Handraj also. He will be able to help you. And from my side, you can ask any question in English, French, Dutch or German. That's it.
One more thing I want to add.
What was he asking, please? What was the question?
Going there, what will we start? you give a brief description like we start from this and this part. So what we do, we split the groups into two parts.
Yeah, what we will do is we are quite a large group. So the track is built in that way that there is an opportunity to each time do a drill in two different locations with 8 per group. So you just choose. Sometimes you will come with me on some obstacles. Sometimes you will go with Hansraj.
क्या करेंगे कि ग्रुप हो सके तो डिवाइड कर लेंगे जल्दी हो पाएगा और मतलब ईच एंड अभी 10 राइडर होने से एक ड्रिल करने में 1 by 1 होता है तो एट द सेम टाइम सर कराएंगे दूसरा ड्रिल मैं आपको दूसरा ड्रिल में 8 मतलब दूसरा करके कराऊंगा कि 5 to 6 राइडर मेरे साथ है उनको भी जो किसी
The
का
ad-
कंफर्टेबल है
The advan-
Yeah.
Sorry.
If someone is comfortable in English, he can go with him. If someone is comfortable in Bengali or like मेरा Bengali इतना अच्छा नहीं है, I'm really very sorry. मैं आसाम का Bengali और जो हिंदी में comfortable है वो मेरे साथ आइए मतलब I can teach you that part and he can teach you that part. तो speak करा लेंगे.
The biggest advantage is that by splitting the group in two and working together but separately into group on the same drill can increase the number of times that you try the drill. If you every time had to wait 15 other riders going on the drill before you, it will be very boring. By doing that, you will be busy all the time, a lot more busy all the time. That's the idea that you practice. That at least each of you try every drill at least 3-4 times. By practicing 3-4 times, you get the feeling how to do it. If it's only 1 or 2 times, you will not get the feeling. That's why it's also important to reach there in time, so that we have plenty of time so that you can repetitively train. The more you repeat it, the more we will be there perhaps to correct you or help you how to tackle it. And the better you will feel after the academy, like, yeah, I learned something. So that's the idea. So let's have a safe
Philip
ride.
would be giving you the instructions. After that, while you are practicing, the group will split into 2 parts. একটা হাফ থাকবে ফিলিপের সাথে আর একটা হাফ হান্সরাজের সাথে and they will guide you if there is something better you could do. You can ask as many questions as possible. যত questions আপনারা জিজ্ঞেস করবেন আমরা নরমালি কি করি and beyond an experience, no doubt about that. But আমরা মনে করি মনে হয় এটা এমনি হবে. They will tell you actually এটা এমনি হয়. They are professionally doing it. So even if there is a slightest doubt যে আমরা কোন সময় কোন ব্রেকটি এনগেজ করবো ফ্রন্ট না রিয়ার আমরা অনেক সময় ডাউটে থাকি যে ফ্রন্ট চলবে না রিয়ার চলবে অন রোড কি চলবে অফ রোড কি চলবে এমনি সব কোয়েশ্চেন্স আপনারা জিজ্ঞেস করতে থাকবেন So I'm saying the same thing only and just
Yeah, but it was not Hindi. It was not Hindi. It was Bengali. I could hear it.
language should not be a problem. It's all about skills. So he can guide you, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to any one of us. Also, I'm Suparna. I'm from KTM India's riding community team. So I take care of the entire north and east regions activations. I'm based in Delhi, so I especially came up, and of course we have our trainers also coming from different regions to train you. So I think we have to make the best use of this opportunity. Shoot as many questions. You can check with Philip. I always ask him questions, even though I have been attending all these sessions ever since I joined KTM. It's never wrong to be open to learning. To
Be open,
shoot
be friendly.
questions.
Just ask it.
Yeah. And
What
don't
will-
mind asking, even you will think, oh, this is a very silly thing also. Even I've been riding, but I'll always ask him, what is the best way to brake? And some things we do instinctively. আমাদের হাতটা ক্লাচের উপরে ন্যাচারালি চলে যায় ওদেরকে বলবে ওরা তোমাকে মানে আপনাদেরকে কারেকশনস বলবে যে না এমনি করে হবে পায়ের পজিশনটা কেমনি আমরা দাঁড়িয়ে করি কিন্তু এমনি টোজ এর উপরে হবে না হিলস এর উপরে they will tell you the best of it.
You will never learn. Asking 2 or 3 times the same question is not a problem, because in off-road, every question that you will raise will be different in function of the situation where you are. So there is potentially a new answer. So don't feel ashamed to ask the same question on 2 different drills or even on the same drill, because that's the only way to learn. Second thing, the level is the bronze level academy. There is also a silver level academy, which are a set of drills, which are of course at a higher and more difficult level. Believe me, the bronze level, and in Delhi we did already 3 academies. I would say that 80% of the riders of the last academy did at least 1 session before. Why? Even the best riders are practicing the basics. I'm a very, very big fan of one hard enduro rider called Graham Jarvis. If you check that on Instagram and so on, he's an amazing guy, what he can do. He is practicing what we will call infinity, or the figure of 8. The figure of 8, you had all to do it to pass your driving license. You think you can do it? Yes. But there are 1,000 ways to make the infinity and the figure of 8 in a more difficult and challenging way. So every basic thing that you will learn during a Bronze Academy, they are the basics of off-roading. Train them to fully master them. All these super very high level guy, they still practice these basics, although they're.
Even I
But
practice this figure of 8 each and every time.
of course, but you can do it very slow. The idea is if you do it very slow and in very compact, small 8, it's a lot more difficult than doing it at high speed. You need to do it both, practice both to get all these feelings inside your body, how the bike is reacting when you do a figure of 8. Do a figure on 8 on gravel, do a figure on 8 on grass, on wet grass. It will be very slippery. The front wheel is to go off. So all these basic things, the more you train them, the more you master them, the more comfortable you will feel during any trail. And these are just the basics that we learn. And if you continue to practice the basic, gradually will become a better level, better rider. Guys, any question? Let's go. Let's keep a constant pace. It's a 1 hour 15 minutes effort. Well, at least yesterday when I reached at 2 or 3 p.m. it took me
Less traffic is.
I hope so. 1 hour and 15, 16, 20 minutes. Let's not lose time there. Keep a constant pace. Don't take any risk. I suggest that you're closing. If he's leading, you will close the group. Ride in a compact way. Constant speed. And let's be there as soon as possible so that we can start the academy
And
by
let's not pile up.
8:30.
Let's keep safe distance between vehicles so that if someone has to brake for certain reason, we don't ram into that and we don't come together collectively. Let's follow the group riding etiquettes as we have been riding.
So,
We'll stop
guys,
for fuel at one spot.
sorry. What I suggest is Niall is riding there, rider 2 there, rider 3 here. This distance is too short between that person and that person. But on your track, on your lane, you have sufficient space between Sahil will be riding there, and number 3 is riding there. 1, 3, 5, 7 is riding there. 2, 4, 6, 8 is riding there. So you always are far away from each other. But it prevents that plenty of cars will come in between. It will be we ride in that way as a safe group. Many trucks and buses, and they're very fast. These buses. Okay, Cello. By 8:30 we start the academy at the venue. Okay. Cello.
Reach there by
Cello.
Yeah. থ্যাংক ইউ তো অলরেডি লেট হয়ে গেছে, আমরা তাড়াতাড়ি বেরোবো। 8:30-র মধ্যে আমাদের ট্র্যাকে যেতে হবে, যেই ট্র্যাকটাতে আমরা প্র্যাকটিস করব। তো কিছু পেপার ওয়ার্কস বাকি আছে, ওটা সাইন করে নিয়ে আমরা বেরোবো। তো চলো, এর পরেরটা আমরা রাস্তায় কন্টিনিউ করছি। চলো, আমরা এবার বেরিয়ে পড়লাম, মানে বেরিয়ে পড়ার জন্য রেডি হচ্ছি, গাড়ি বার করব। তো আমার গাড়িটা একটু ভেতরে রাখা আছে, তো অনেক কষ্ট করে ঢুকতে হচ্ছে একটু। তো সামনের গাড়িটা না বেরোলে তো বার করা যাবে না। তো চলো, আমরা জাস্ট বেরিয়ে পড়লাম। আমরা নিবেদিতা সেতু, মানে সেকেন্ড হুগলি ব্রিজ, নিবেদিতা সেতু, হ্যাঁ তাই তো, দ্বিতীয় হুগলি ব্রিজ ক্রস করে আমরা কোনা এক্সপ্রেস ধরে বোম্বে রোড ধরবো, তারপর দুর্গাপুর এক্সপ্রেস ওয়েতে আমরা যাব। এটাই মোটামুটি আমাদের যাত্রাপথ, যেটুকু আমরা শুনলাম। তো আপাতত আমরা এগিয়ে চলেছি। এই দিক থেকে সোজা বিড়লা প্ল্যানেটোরিয়াম ক্রস করে আমরা ডান দিকে গিয়ে সেকেন্ড হুগলি ব্রিজ উঠবো। চলো, আমরা সেকেন্ড হুগলি ব্রিজ চলে এসেছি অলরেডি। সেকেন্ড হুগলি ব্রিজ ওপর দিয়ে আমরা চলেছি, তোমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছ দ্বিতীয় হুগলি সেতু, ভাগীরথী নদীর ওপরে তৈরি এই সেকেন্ড হুগলি ব্রিজের ওপর দিয়ে আমরা চলেছি। আমরা ক্রস করে ওই পারে গিয়ে তারপর আমরা সাঁতরাগাছি রাস্তা নয় এটা, যদিও এই রাস্তা ধরে সোজা আমরা বোম্বে রোডে উঠবো। বোম্বে রোডে উঠে আমরা ডান দিকে যাব, ডান দিকে গিয়ে আমরা দুর্গাপুর এক্সপ্রেসওয়েতে উঠবো। তো দুর্গাপুর এক্সপ্রেসওয়েতে ওঠার আগে আমরা ডানকুনি টোল প্লাজাও ক্রস করব। টোল প্লাজা ক্রস করার পর আচ্ছা, আমাদের গন্তব্যস্থল যেটা তোমাদেরকে ভালো করে বলা হয়নি, তো সেটা আমরা বলবো। তো আমরা ডানকুনি টোল প্লাজা ক্রস করছি। তো ডানকুনি টোল প্লাজা ক্রস করার পরে আমাদের কিছুটা যেতে হবে, এটা সিঙ্গুর ক্রস করেই জায়গাটার নাম হচ্ছে নাসিবপুর। হ্যাঁ, নাসিবপুরই। তো নাসিবপুরে প্রজেক্ট এসআর বলে একটা জায়গা রয়েছে, যেখানে অফরোডের ট্র্যাক রয়েছে, যেখানে প্র্যাকটিস করা যায় এবং অফরোড মোটরসাইকেল যারা চালায় বা যারা র্যালি করে তাদের জন্য একটা প্র্যাকটিসের জায়গা তৈরি করা রয়েছে। তো আমরা দেখো বাদিকে দেখতে পাচ্ছি, আমরা প্রায় চলেও এসেছি ওখানে। তো এটাই হচ্ছে প্রজেক্ট এসআর। তো আমরা দুর্গাপুর এক্সপ্রেসওয়ে থেকে সোজা এসে ডান হাতে পড়বে। তো ডান হাতে ইউটার্ন করে নিয়ে এই জায়গাটাতে ঢুকতে হবে। তো একটু কাঁচা রাস্তা এই জায়গাটাতে, তো একটু সাবধানে ঢুকতে হবে, কারণ দুর্গাপুর এক্সপ্রেসওয়েতে এতটা আসার পর, এত মসৃণ রাস্তায় চলার পর হঠাৎ করে এই কাঁচা রাস্তায় নামতে গিয়ে অনেকেই একটু কনফিডেন্সের অভাবে ভোগে। যেমন সামনেই আমাদের অনিন্দদা ছিল, সামনে বালি ছিল বলে একটু যেতে বুঝতে পারছিল না কিভাবে যাবে, একটু কনফিডেন্স ল্যাক করছিল। তো যাই হোক, আমরা প্রজেক্ট এসআরের কাছাকাছি পৌঁছে গেছি। এখান দিয়েই আমরা এন্ট্রি নেব প্রজেক্ট এসআরে। এসআর প্লেগ্রাউন্ড দিয়ে তোমরা গুগল ম্যাপে খুঁজলে পেয়ে যাবে হুগলিতে, মানে হ্যাঁ হুগলি ডিস্ট্রিক্টেই মোস্ট প্রবাবলি এটা পড়ছে। তো তোমরা প্রজেক্ট এসআর বা এসআর প্লেগ্রাউন্ড দিয়ে সার্চ করলে তোমরা পেয়ে যাবে। তো এই সামনেটাতে বালি ফেলা রয়েছে বলে অনিন্দদা একটু ঘাবড়াচ্ছিল কী করবে বলে। তো যাই হোক, আমি এগিয়ে ঢুকে গেলাম। এই জায়গাটাতে একটু কাঁচা মাটি রয়েছে, 2-3 দিন আগে বৃষ্টি হওয়ার জন্য একটু নরমও ছিল। তো আমরা জাস্ট ঢুকছি, দেখতে পাচ্ছ একটা খুব সুন্দর মাঠ, তার ভেতরে অফরোডের জন্য, অফরোডের প্র্যাকটিসের জন্য, মোটরসাইকেল প্র্যাকটিসের জন্য অনেক রকম ভাবে প্রস্তুত করা হয়েছে যাতে প্র্যাকটিস করা যায়। তো যাই হোক, আমরা এখানে বাইক রাখবো, বাইক রেখে আমাদের ক্লাস শুরু হবে ডান দিকে। দেখতেই পাচ্ছ ডান দিকে ক্লাস শুরুর জায়গা।
Need to adjust all the controls on your bike to the right off-road position that you will have on the bike. Can you put a stone? No, it's fine. Can you put a stone? You will be in a standard position in many occasions, and on the road I never saw anyone riding in an absent position. I think except me, when the stretches are too long and my bump is painful, then I stretch my leg and I'm riding like that. But there is no... Who? You're also doing that? Yeah. But there is no reason, no technical reason to ride in an absent position except to relax your legs. That's what I want to say. The thing is that when you're sitting or when you're standing, your arms and your legs are not in the same position on the bike, obviously. So actually when you're riding the bike on the road, the lever should be more or less horizontal. That's logic. When you're riding in absent position, the idea is that your arm and your hand should be in a straight line, because if they are not in a straight line but like that, each time you will have a hole, each time you will have anything, it will be very painful in your wrist, and you will not continue to ride because it will be too painful. So the idea of the position of the controls while you're on an adventure bike is that you find the right compromise. I know that it will be not very fixed. So the idea is that you find the right compromise between the seated position, which should be horizontal, and the standard position, which should not be vertical but more down. And as you see, by putting the levers about 2 centimeters down, about 1 inch down, you see that in both positions I have a comfortable position. Here I have no 90-degree angle, but I have a, 30-degree angle or whatever. And when I'm seated, my arms are not fully horizontal, little bit forward. But it's a good compromise between both. Same for the clutch, of course, and the brake. When you're riding the bike, you will be riding a lot in off-road on an adventure bike. So the best is to remove the rubbers, because you will have a better control on the brake. So only when you remove the rubber is very comfortable on the road, because you get a lot less vibrations in your feet and your leg when you're riding. So it's more comfortable. But the thing is with rubber, as soon as you ride a little bit through water, it's very slippery and you will fall from the bike or you will slide from the foot pegs. So it's better when you're riding only off-road or adventure trails to remove the rubbers. Your foot should be a little bit in a standard position. You're on the ball. Ideally, you ride on the ball of the feet. You ride on the ball of the feet and you brake. What happened? You lost the screw? You lost the screw? Okay, that doesn't matter. Now you can also ride with that part of the foot on the foot peg and you keep your foot above the brake. The reason why I'm saying that is that if you are on the roads, on highways here, you see that everything can happen, that you should react very, very fast. We all rode quite a lot of number of kilometers. I personally lakhs of kilometers on Indian roads and highways, and you have to be constantly prepared for the unprepared. There will be a tractor, there will be a family crossing, there will be cattle, there will be, I don't know, chicken, cats, kids, whatever you want. They cross the highway and you have to react very, very fast. So what I'm doing, I'm always keeping one finger on the brake and one finger on the clutch. You can immediately react. I do the same when I'm riding. Merda. My foot is just above the brake lever, not far. Be careful when you do this technique, especially when you're in the mountain. If your foot is just touching the brake pedal a little bit too much, it will heat up your brake, because unconsciously you will not even feel it, but you will put little pressure on it and your disc will heat up and you will not be able to brake. So be careful with the rear brake. But with the front brake you will not put any pressure, just your finger is on it. Always brake and use the clutch with one or two fingers only. The idea is that your hand is on the grip, it should fully take the grip in the hands. The more
Ask how many of them are using 4 or 5 fingers in clutch. होता है कि अनसर्टेन अभी कुछ आ जाता है हम लोग के सामने, 4 फिंगर से ज़्यादा 1 फिंगर अब हम उसी में रखेंगे तो you can apply the brake more fastly, more consciously.
And moreover, with the quick shifter, you don't really need that much pressure. So you need more the clutch to start, but the quick shifter will be always work. So the only thing that you need to do is to press it a little bit gently, or you don't use it at all. Actually, in off-road, you just use the clutch lever just to pinch a little bit when you need that much more power. So by pinching it 1 second, your RPM will go from 4 to 6,000 or 6 to 10,000, whatever. And when you release it, you have this extra kick that you will get. So you're just in off-road using your clutch just to get that extra power when you need. You don't really use the clutch fully because you have the quick shifter, and with the quick shifter you don't need to. You went already on a trail? They explain you how to use the quick shifter or not? Okay, we'll do some quick shifter exercise then.
One more I just want to add. It's my personal I think. Whenever you use 4 fingers, आप जब 4 fingers अपने clutch में use कर रहे हैं, आप देखिए कि नीचे में आपका grip नहीं है.
No.
ग्रिप नहीं है क्योंकि आप कुछ हिट करेंगे आपका हाथ निकल जाएगा. और अभी देखिए मैं इस साइड में दिखा रहा हूँ, क्लच के साइड में दिखाना चाहिए. अगर आप 2 फिंगर इसमें रखेंगे, आप एक नीचे में आपका ग्रिप रहेगा ही. आप नीचे से भी कुछ मतलब ऑब्स्टेकल आने से भी आपका हाथ छूट जाने का चांसेस एकदम नहीं है. देखिए आप 4 फिंगर ऐसे डालेंगे तो नीचे में ये हाथ आपका उठ जाएगा क्योंकि ये नीचे में ग्रिप नहीं रहेगा. तो आप जितना भी हो सके कि नीचे में एक ग्रिप बना के 2 फिंगर क्लच में एक करने से ज़्यादा अच्छा है, लेकिन मैं पर्सनली 2 ही करता हूँ. और ब्रेक्स में कभी 1 या कभी 2, लेकिन नीचे में ग्रिप रखिए. एटलीस्ट 2 फिंगर्स इसको लॉक करके रखिए नीचे में एक्सेलरेटर के साथ. 2 या 1 होने से और अच्छा है, 2 होने से भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सिर्फ नीचे में ये दोनों फिंगर से अपना ग्रिप रखिए. क्योंकि कब नीचे से ऑफ रोड बाइक है, ऑन रोड बाइक नहीं है. स्पीड ब्रेकर में आ गया कभी दब ये स्पीड ब्रेकर्स में आ जाने से आपका हाथ ग्रिप छोड़ जाने का चांसेस ज़्यादा होता है.
The actual braking performance is so high that really you don't need more than 1 or 2 fingers. It's not like you have to press a lot. If you take the most famous Indian brand in India and you take their front or rear brake, especially when you're taking a Bullet or something like that, it looks nice, it's a nice bike. I've rode a lot of kilometers here, but this bike has no brake compared to this one. When you're braking with this one, it's really braking down. It's very much braking down. And it's the first exercise that we'll do. It's not part of the academy, but I noticed that a majority of riders are not using their front and rear brake correctly. Rear brake mainly, often, more or less okay, but the front brake, they are not using it at all or very lightly. Just because the majority of riders have this fear, are afraid to block the front wheel. Now, you know that you can put the ABS in off-road mode. The ABS in off-road mode will never have any influence on your front brake. So your front brake will always be assisted with ABS. Even if you switch ABS on, it will be only on the rear brake. So you don't have to be afraid to fully use the brake. You will not fall down because the system will release the pressure. So to come back to the controls, 1 or 2 finger, neutral position. Last thing about the control, the handles. This is not good, and I see that so much for 2 reasons. Why? It's moving that much that it will not protect that much your hand. Secondly, it will also not protect the handle, because on many bikes I see it more or less horizontally. I always put, you see the line that you have here? Can you see it from, perhaps you will see it better from here. There you see the line inside. I always put sufficiently down, little bit like that. So the lever is at the same level of this upper line. And the reason why I'm doing that is when I'm filling down, the energy will be first absorbed by your handguard and only touch your lever. And this is important when you're doing a long journey. You want to keep your bike in a good position. But believe me, you will fall, because everybody is falling down sometimes with a bike. So try to put that little down, tighten it very, very hard here and here, so that when you fall down, it will protect your lever. It's always good. I will explain that at the end in the third part about how to prepare your journey and what you should bring with you. It's always good to have a pair of clutch and brake lever with you. That's always good, but it's even better to always put it in the right position and tighten it very hard, so that when you fall down, all the energy will be absorbed there.
clutch or lever वो नहीं टूटेगा, वो बच जाएगा end of the day.
Victor's, last things here about the controls, the tire pressure. You want to do the briefing about the tire pressure, or?
Tire pressure, if you are doing full highway, then it's easy. Everyone knows that we need more air pressure in the highway. But if you are doing like gravel plus sand plus off-road, little bit tire pressure you have to reduce. But if you are doing like full mud trail in full raining season, because you know one thing, sir, give me some experience.
Excuse me, I will move.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a wheel. This is a highway, right? This is a road. This is surface. Say suppose you have full air pressure. Your this much will be your grip. This much will be your grip.
It's very narrow.
If you reduce the air pressure a little bit, you'll have more.
The surface contact, it's very logic. If the rubber is very hard, your surface contact will be very limited. Less pressure you put, when you have a puncture, you see that your contact surface, that your tire is very wide, so you have more contact pressure, more grip, obviously, more grip. That's it. That's the word.
If you're doing like sand, you'll be needing more grip, because sand doesn't keep like you will spin in. If your air pressure is high, if you reduce the air pressure in front, I don't suggest to reduce that much, but rear it's the main. So reduce, and don't reduce that much if it's like fat. Don't reduce that much. Just see your tire pressure. If you have that portable, that portable one, it's better. It's very better. You just adjust it. You just keep it there. You can just again you can just refill it.
But that product is not liable. I have used it.
How's it like? In India, we don't have any option like MI.
Because there is no service center.
No service center. Yes.
There's a main drawback.
Whatever your terrain is, don't decrease the pressure in the front tire, because your front tire must be like a knife. It must cut. Whatever you go in sand, it should cut. So the harder it is, the less grip it will have, but it doesn't matter, because the idea is to go inside the sand or inside the slush or inside the ice. So it should keep your front stable. In the rear, because you need this acceleration, you need to decrease. If you know that you will do only sand, you need to decrease the pressure so that you increase the contact surface with the ground, the sole, and so that you get better grip, and you will have a better control on the bike. Now, this is all theory. The thing is that it's only when you're only riding sand, if you know that you're in Rajasthan and you will have a full day of sand, then you can decrease your tire pressure. The risk when you have a decreased tire pressure is an increased risk for puncture. The harder the tire is, the less chance of puncture you will have. So you have thorns and stones that you can have in sandy areas, and these thorns and stones will cause a puncture. So be careful with that.
Don't reduce that much.
Only when you're sure that you will have sand and no stones and no thorns, you can reduce the pressure and you will ride a lot more easy. But in all the other situations, don't play around. You know, on adventure cars, on 4x4 cars, on four-wheelers, you have adjustable systems. You're in the car and you just change a knob and the tire pressure is at 600 gram for in a very sandy terrain, and you have compressors inside the car. You lift the car up. It's for hard rocks or a terrain where you risk a puncture, and you increase again the tire pressure. All the rally cars have this kind of system, not the bikes. So my conclusion about the tire pressure is use in 99% of the cases just the standard recommended pressure, which is 28 to 30 or 32, I don't know. Depending on if the bike is weight, if you have a lot of load on the bike.
Also check your tire also. Before leaving somewhere for trails or something, always check your tire. In off-road, you can use this front part.
The ball,
Yeah.
Okay.
that part
I
on the
personally
foot pegs.
suggest don't put your foot that much front, because whenever we are cruising on the highway, we don't know. But this leg is pressing this brakes.
Right.
It happened with me. I have lost my rear brake pads so many times because my foot was like this in the highway.
And he was slowly breaking down, but
My
that
bike
was so
jammed,
that you
my
don't
bike
feel
was
it.
jammed. So I always suggest just keep your leg behind this brake pedal. Always behind, because आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा आपका ब्रेक पैड, क्योंकि पीछे में कोई रहता नहीं है और दिन में हम चलाते हैं कि ये ब्रेक लाइट जल रहा है, किसी को मालूम नहीं है, तो बाइक भी जाम रहेगा, बाइक जाता नहीं है, उसके बाद देखिएगा पूरा गर्म पूरा हो रहा है, आपका ब्रेक शू जाएगा. तो पर्सनली वो लेफ्ट लेग कोई राइट लेग थोड़ा मतलब ब्रेक से थोड़ा पीछे रह के चलाना अच्छा है. और ऑफ रोड में तो यही है. ऑन रोड में अगर आप कोई ऐसा चला रहे हैं तो थोड़ा उसको पीछे लाइए, क्योंकि आप ये प्रेस हो जाता है कभी, नो डाउट.
It's recommended for off-road riding.
Anyone, just ask, except of Samrat and Sahil, आप जो है ऑफ रोड में हम लोग खड़ा होकर क्यों चलाते हैं, आप बोलिए ना प्लीज. आपको जो आप
What could be the reasons? Shock. One reason, number one is shock absorber. What is the reason?
Second
No. First explain. Let's first explain why. So actually, obviously the bike has suspensions, front and rear suspension. That's a part how to amortize the shocks. But when it's very, very wobbly, and you see that especially when you have on this kind of highways cross junctions, everybody tries on the left, especially on the bike, on the left and on the right to go. If you arrive there at high speed, especially in the braking zone, it's like whoops. If you remain seated, you will just jump over the seat. So indeed, not only the bike has suspension, but your body has also suspension.
body has also suspension.
Suspension number one is the ankle. Whoopla. Suspension. The first suspension that your body has is your ankle. The second one is your knee. The fourth one is your hips.
Yeah.
And the last one is actually your in your spine. You have cushions in between the bones of your spine, but they are full of nerves. And if you use them as suspension, when you're seated on the bike and when you're using them as suspension, the nerves will be compressed and it will be very, very painful. So the idea is to release as much as you can the upper body from the suspension function of your body and only use the lower part, so that all the energy can be also amortized by your legs. One more point that I will add, I see many riders by comfort, when they are riding off-road, they lock fully their legs. Why it's comfortable? Because when you're like that, your muscle here are heating up, it's becoming very hard and very tiring, you know. Let's do squats. Let's do squats on the bike. You will see that after 10 or 15, it becomes very hard and it's painful. So to compensate that, I see many riders, hopla, I lock my legs, I lock my knee. The thing is that if you didn't sew a hole, what will happen? I get full energy in my leg like that, I will be just thrown in the air. The bike will go down, there is no amortization like that. I thought you will keep it. So there is no amortization whatsoever, and all the energy goes straight into your leg up to your hip, and you will just go over the bar. So when you're riding in an upstand position, flex a little bit. Never like that. Flex. Very, very important. Agile. The bike is more agile. I got it. Indeed, when you're in upstand position, you are a lot more agile for two reasons. When I'm standing up, I have my 85 or 90 kilogram on the foot pegs, and the foot pegs are only that from the soil. So my center of gravity is very low because all the weight is on the foot pegs. When I'm sitting, 80% of my body weight is at that side. So that's that height instead of that height. That makes a difference in agile of the bike.
बट जब मैं खड़ा हो गया मेरे सर पे क्या है, मेरे आगे में एकदम कितना आगे मैं जा सकता हूँ, मेरा विजन कितना क्लियर हो गया, कितना ऑब्स्टेकल्स से मैं बच गया, क्योंकि आपको पता नहीं सकते कि क्या आ गया फ्रंट से क्या आ गया। तो ये मेन रीजन दिस रीजन। और सी एज मच एज लॉन्ग यू कैन, आप ऐसे देख के मत चलाइए, सी एज मच एज यू कैन, विजन क्लियर रखिए।
You see, almost flat. The higher you go on the bike, you will see very clearly, oh, in between the two first, I have a small distance, but after that, it's a big distance after that hole. You will never see that if you're seated. So it's all about vision. And when you have a good vision, you can anticipate. Because you know that the distance between jump number 2 and 3 is very large, you know that in between you can accelerate, or you will have to go on the left or the right to change your line. So you can adapt your line faster because you see better and further. So the higher you're on the bike, the better you will see that. The foot pegs, your body is on the foot peg, so your center of gravity remains low, but at least you see far. When you're riding off-road, the idea is to have a good control over the bar. Sorry. Because you don't use the bar to turn, but you use the bar actually to keep your balance on the trails. So to turn, you put your body position inside or outside, we will see that later on. But in order to have this good balance on the bike and this good stability, your elbow should be outwards. So don't ride like that in off-road. I exaggerate, nobody's riding like that. I'm just doing it very foolish. Don't ride like that. If you're just relaxed, you can ride like that. If you're in attacking mode, you will be like that. Elbows always out. Then I will explain you that the next step of the body position, but we come to that, but it will also answer to your question. When you're braking down, and in braking we'll do the exercise, 80% of the efficiency comes from the front. The rears only keep your line. You use actually the rear brake to keep your line or to change your line, but the efficiency of slowing down comes from the front brake. You push your bike, you brake, and at the same time you push your bike. When you brake, what will happen naturally? Your body weight will go forward, and you compensate this force going forward by pushing as much as you can. By doing that, you try to have your body position towards the back of the bike to keep control on it. If you don't do that and you brake very hard, you will do a wheelie, stoppie. Sorry, thank you, a stoppie. So you brake and you push as much as you can on the bar when you're braking very hard, and you push your body position backwards. When you accelerate, you should put your body position forward. Your shoulders should go just above the bar. What is the reason? On a 390 you have a modest 46 horsepower, which is more than enough for all the roads in India and for cruising and touring at normal speeds. But if you're going to very powerful bike, if you don't put your body weight in front when you accelerate and you stay at the back, the bike will go in all directions and you will have no control anymore. So acceleration phase, body position front, deceleration braking phase, body position to the right, to the back. Sorry, front back, accelerating front, braking back. Any question about this movement that you have to do?
So while accelerating, are you pushing the handlebars down?
No, forward. Forward. You brake, I brake very hard. That's what's happened with my body. My body goes forward. To compensate that, I push my body backwards. Don't lock, same as with the knees, don't lock the elbow, but push it comfortably backwards your body when you brake. Go to the front and you will not have control anymore. When you just block your body position with your arms while braking, I feel that I'm attracted forward, but I'm compensating it by pushing. It will be easier. So it's actually, can you go behind and keep the bike straight, please? Thank you, Hans-Raj. So when I want to go on the left, and if I do it more, he will not even be able to keep the bike in position. It's logic. The same will happen when you're riding. I'm riding, I want to go on the left. I move if I'm now in the middle of the bike and I want to go in the left, I will go in the left. You see it also in MotoGP and whatever. They go inside, if that's the middle of the line, they will go inside and the bike will incline.
Let me add. अभी आप देखिए सर अगर लेफ्ट साइड में बाइक ये कर रही है, मैं पकड़ के रख नहीं सकता, बाइक जाएगा ही उस साइड। तो राइडिंग में भी देखिए अभी जा नहीं रहा, अभी राइडिंग में भी सेम है। अगर आप उस साइड में लेफ्ट में टर्न लेंगे तो बॉडी पोजीशन उसमें थोड़ा सा जैसे इसको टर्न इजी हो जाता है। तो अगर आप उस साइड में आप वेट देंगे तो इस साइड में ट्रेन तो वो आपको उल्टा हो जाएगा। तभी वो अगर राइट साइड में जाएंगे तो आई कैन पुश दिस साइड। मैं मतलब पुश करने से भी नहीं रहेगा।
So when you are entering a corner, you go with your body in the direction where you want to turn. I want to go on the left, my body position will go on the left, and I will counter steer a little bit, just like on the road. Counter steering, either you push a little bit on the left where you want to go, or you pull a little bit the right. That's just like on the road, nothing changed about that. When I want to go on the right, I'll do the same. I'll put my body position on the right, and the bike will bend. And I'll put a little bit the bar like that, and my body position in that first part of the turn will be there. The more I go there, the fatter the bike will be. So I need speed in order not to fall down, of course. Or I stay more or less there. So these are the things to go left and rightwards. When you come in the turn, once you're out of the turn, there is something called apex. Apex is the point in a turn that you will touch the most left part of the track. Imagine on the racing tracks, you always see this red and white parts in the turns. So the apex is the point where your bike is touching this part of the track. He will make a nice drawing. That's the apex. As long as you reach, as soon as you reach the apex, you should reaccelerate. You brake down before the corner. You keep your brake, your foot a little bit on the brake and on the front brake. You use your rear foot to adjust your line. If you see that you're too wide, you use a little bit your front brake because you're not on the right line for turning. If you feel that you will lose the front, you also use the rear brake and the bike will go straight again. Once you reach this apex,
Everyone can see, right? Should I shift this that side?
should be high, should hang. Anyway, just stand up, it's fine now.
I'm not talking about foreign roads. So coming from this side, you should take this close one from inside. Go out at that side, right?
External part, internal part, external part of the corner. That's how you take it.
If you come from outside, if you know there is the corner. Say suppose this is the corner. If you come from this side, you can easily can cruise. So main thing is the braking and clutch. This turn. Make sure you don't brake it here. Don't make sure you don't brake here or here.
The braking zone is here. From here to here, you
From here to here.
try to brake as much as you can when the bike in a straight line. Then you have the second part from here to the apex,
Here
where
to
you
the
will
apex.
keep little bit on the front and the rear brake, but more to adjust your line. If you see that you're too wide, use a bit of your brake and the bike will go back inside. And you will touch the apex. Once you touch the apex, you should reaccelerate out of the corner. Your body weight should be at the external part of the bike. So it's the same for racing bikes or whatever, and in off-road. So I'm going inside the turn. My body is on the inside. I'm reaching the apex. I reaccelerate. All my body should be on my external leg.
External.
I go to the right, my body weight goes to the right. I pass the apex, I'm reaccelerating, and I have to compensate. That's why you see a lot of people when they are riding and they are out of the corner, they are like that. Because they're already in the acceleration phase. In the deceleration phase, they will be inside, and the acceleration phase, they will be like that with the outside.
The bike will be in the line. Your body will go from this side. आपका body side होगा. और bike पूरा line में जाकर acceleration होगा फिर जाएंगे. अभी देखिए.
I'm reaccelerating. My body is not anymore in the center in the acceleration phase, but it goes like that to keep this balance. And moreover, to keep grip. If you accelerate and you don't put weight on the external grip, the bike will start to skid like that. We'll do some exercises in corners.
And I just want to clear. Do everything like brake, gear change here, till here. After crossing this, just hold your clutch. From here, once you touch the point of apex, just slowly accelerate. Don't go out. Don't go out. It's risky. Don't go out. And never do this one, this close one, this inside one. It's very risky.
On roads, obviously. So that's about the positioning. As I said, you're actually on an off-road bike, you need to be very agile and going front and backwards. I go frontwards for, at what moment I put my body from
एपेक्स ओके यहाँ से टर्न स्टार्ट आपको जो गियर चेंज करना था ब्रेकिंग करना था मेन ब्रेकिंग करना फुल हाई स्पीड में है या लो स्पीड में है मेन लो स्पीड में तो ब्रेकिंग नहीं चाहिए लो स्पीड में ब्रेकिंग कितना में चाहिए हाई स्पीड में चाहिए तो हाई स्पीड के पहले आपने ब्रेक करके आपको बाइक निकालिए वहाँ पे उसके पहले थोड़ा एपेक्स है वही पोजीशन आपका हो गया इसमें ये हो गया एपेक्स क्रॉस किया उल्टा डायरेक्शन में आ जाइए तभी आपका क्या होगा बाइक वंस ये हो गया आपका टर्निंग ले लिया हो गया आपका टर्निंग खत्म आप देख रहे हैं आपको अभी सीधा जाना है इस साइड में आके एक्सेलरेशन कीजिए क्योंकि इस साइड में एक्सेलरेशन करने से वो बाइक थोड़ा ये हो जाएगी इस साइड में कीजिए ऑफ रोड में और ज़्यादा होना चाहिए एक्चुअली कि व्हेनेवर वी राइडिंग ऑफ रोड बॉडी पोजीशन सबसे मेन है बॉडी पोजीशन
and active. Body position is active. When you're riding on the road and highways, you're more passive on the bike. You just ride and your body moves hardly front backwards or left to right. In off-road, you constantly have to go front, backwards, left, right, front, backwards. Constantly moving.
हाईवे इज नॉर्मल सर अभी देखिए आप हाईवे में अभी आराम से आ गए आप यहाँ पे आके आपको थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम लग गया डाउन हिल तो यहाँ पे पूरा बॉडी पोजीशन का है अभी देखिए मोस्ट ऑफ द राइडर्स ये जो डाउन ने किया खड़ा होके किया क्लच थोड़ा हाथ में है ब्रेक थोड़ा प्रेस करके पीछे का ब्रेक थोड़ा प्रेस करके आप मतलब क्लच में थोड़ा वो फियर है आपका अंदर में वो अब हाईवे में तो आपका फियर नहीं है हाईवे में तो बॉडी पोजीशन का कुछ काम ही नहीं है आप सीधा में बैठिए आप गियर चेंज किए आप जाइए ब्रेकिंग कीजिए लेकिन ऑफ रोड इज कम्प्लीटली अबाउट बॉडी पोजीशन विल हेल्प यू आउट इफ यू आर गोइंग अप यू आर गोइंग डाउन यू आर गोइंग इन मड में जाने से भी आप देखिए अभी खड़ा होकर थोड़ा बैलेंस करके या का बैठ के पैर हिला के थोड़ा वो बॉडी पोजीशन सबसे मेन है
We will help you to come out of a situation that arrives to all of us. It can happen. We fell down with a bike. So I don't suggest here, you will have to do it yourself because you have to feel how it works, the technique. You have mainly two techniques. We'll not do it in the garage, in the heat. Garage? How you say it? Please help me. Garage. We'll not do it in the plain garage, but there is some shadow there. So I suggest we all go there. I'll bring the bike there. I drop the bike, and you will lift it up, just to warm up.
सर आपको भी गिरने से डरिए मत ऑफ-रोड में कुछ नहीं होगा आप डरिए मत गिरने से अगर आप ऑफ-रोड में गिर जाए कुछ नहीं होगा ऑफ-रोड गियर्स है कुछ नहीं होगा विल टीच यू हाउ टू यूज द बाइक फ्रॉम दैट साइड ऑल्सो फ्रॉम दिस साइड सम्राट हैज सम फियर ऑफ दिस बाइक can't like yes okay for a second when we did this I can't hold the bike I hold the control then he
Guys, the first thing you do when you think before you start to think about the bike, you think about you, not think about the bike. What?
this is cool
That's why I want to go here. Please, guys, you don't care about the bike when you fell down. The first ever thing you do,
check yourself
the first thing you do, not yourself, the first thing you do, first, especially when you are on the road, not that much on off-road because you know what's around you. And then if you have an elephant you hit an elephant in the jungle, then you should look where is the elephant. The first thing that you should do is to check your environment. You fell down, you check your environment. Do I represent a danger? Will I increase the problem by staying where I am? Is there a car, a bus or whatever coming? Believe me, when you have an accident, your adrenaline, your body is so full of adrenaline because it's a natural reaction of your body to get this adrenaline release that your brain is not working that well. I had that. Was riding an old timer. I had my how you call that? The mud guard. It was a metal mud guard. The brackets came loose at 80 km per hour. The mud guard flipped around the front wheel, and at 90 km per hour I was on the road, sliding along the bike, and there was a big truck, you know, with this 2 meter high wheels coming in front of me, and I passed about half a meter. I was very afraid. The first thing I did, is jumping because I saw that my metal tank was laying at the other side of the road, and I crossed to the other side of the road to bring back my tank. The first thing you do, you don't think about the bike, you don't even think about your injuries. That's in phase number 2. You secure your environment. I'm in the middle of the road? No. I'm outside the road? Yes. Is it safe? Are the buses, trucks coming? I'll go backwards. You do like that, but you move yourself from the crime scene. Don't stay on the crime scene, move your body, go in a safe position, and just make clear people that they should. So first thing, check what's around you to not make it more worse than it is you felt on the ground. Secondly, indeed you think about you. Elbow, knees, usually that's the first thing, and hands, that's the first thing that smashes. Your head, your helmet. Fast check, you don't have to go in details, and very, very fast if you feel well. That's right. That was very right. You switch off the bike. The bike should not stay and run like that in horizontal position. Lubrication of the engine is not good.
Ask them after that what should we do.
Check whether it is in gear or neutral.
Okay.
Okay. So I checked the safety of the environment. I checked my integrity.
Done.
And I put the bike
Off.
in a safe manner.
Okay. After
What's the
that,
next one?
next one? Okay. After that,
No. Leave it in gear.
leave it.
Leave it in gear. Someone was saying put it in neutral. Reason is, here it's flat. You lift the bike, it will stay in the same position. Nihal, you went in the mountains. You will lift the bike on a steep hill, the bike will be back down and you can lift it again. So leave the bike in the gear. You fell down.
One more thing is there. Just ask, one more thing is there.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, but that's the next one. You leave the gear. Usually you don't fall down in neutral position. That usually doesn't happen. If you know that you were in neutral position, put it in first or second gear, doesn't matter. Be assured that your next point. Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
You open the side stand. I'm so lucky, I always fell down on the right. Of course, when you're falling down on the left, you don't have a side. You can mount it, but it will be again 3 kg more. That's what I'm saying. Then you're not lucky, and then you have to be
If you're
careful.
lucky, if your bike is falling in the right side, then you're lucky. You can have
Usually it's 50% of the chances. 50% will be left, 50% will be right. But here I was very lucky. So why you do that? Because when you lift the bike, especially when you're under stress because you just had this accident, you're under stress, you will give too much power. And the risk is that when the bike is in straight position, you will fall down at the other side of the bike with the bike, and then you will have to do it again. And you will see that lifting a bike will always start to sweat, even if that bike is only 146 or 160 kilogram. Believe me, if you have a bigger adventure bike like the GS 1200 and so on, or the KTM 1290 that you are so in love with, believe me, it's even more difficult. So I will explain you 2 basic exercise, the 2 ways to lift the bike. I think that the first technique is the most appropriate for light off-road bikes, and is the most, it's pure intuition. You do it and it goes easily. You don't have to think too much. So you go with your feet at both sides of the bar. The bar is there, you go with the feet at both sides of the bar.
sides.
Both sides, that's very important. Don't try it here, because if you try it here, the thing is that I will use a lot more my back than my legs. The idea is that my legs do 80% of the job and the last 20% my back. It's 160 kilogram. I saw already very strong and tall guys like you who lift the bike like that and they do it. I exaggerate. They will do like that, okay? And then hop, they will lift it at once. Yeah, you can do it because you're strongly built, but if you fell down 5 times in a row in the day, you will have very much back pain. So the first thing is go as much close to the bike
as
you
much
can.
close as you can.
Then you lock
Samrat,
you lock
you go as
the
much as your feet can.
you lock the bar at the opposite side. So now it's that side, so that while you're lifting, the bar will not start to go left and right. If you don't do that, you can do it, but the risk is that suddenly the bike will go left and right, you will lose energy and you will be more tired. So I usually put one hand under the bar and the other on the grip. One hand under the bar, the other on the grip. But if you want, you can put 2 hands around the grip. Just feel how you feel comfortable. You lift the bike at 5 centimeters, 2 inches more or less, so that all the so that the wheels are touching the ground. Okay? Then I'm using my legs to lift the bike. My legs, and only the last part is with my back. As close as possible. 1, 2. What I'm doing? First I go as close as possible. I go second, how do I position my hands? Like that? Or like that?
Or like that.
Or like that?
Which is easy for you. Like that you can take. By that you can take. I take like this.
3.
I need a grip. Lock the handle. Yeah.
Lock the handle in one direction so it doesn't move. 4. My legs go up.
Don't
Not
move
my
your
back.
Don't
If
move
you
your back.
keep your legs like that and you do it,
No.
strong and tall men can do it, no problem. But it's
Don't
very
do,
bad.
don't do. Do like this. Squat.
Hop, almost vertical. Your back, my back should be almost vertical. My back is fully locked when I'm doing that.
Your feet will not go front. It will like this. Like this. It will not go in front.
And only at the end,
Squat.
I use my higher body to push the bike forward.
যদি ধরো পাহাড়ে আমরা ধরো আপনি ওঠার সময় অনেক সময় লক হয়ে গেল, ব্যালেন্স রাখতে পারলাম না, পড়ে গেল, ডান দিকে পড়লো কি বাদিকে পড়লো, তো যখন পড়ে গেল ওঠার মুখে বা নামার মুখে তখন কি করবো?
Can you please translate? So we all.
आप डिपेंड करता है आप चढ़ाई में है या आप नीचे में है आप দুটোতেই বলো দুটো সিচুয়েশনে বলি
Question is that while going up an incline, either
If
while
the
going
bike falls.
upwards or downwards, if the bike falls, then how to recover that?
Okay, we will do exercises on the hill hack.
ওইটা আমরা
I'm sure that bikes will fall down,
যখন incline
and we will explain you what to do in that situation and what not to do. Backwards. And it's your bump and your legs that will do 60 to 80% of the job, and at the end you will just lift. With this technique, your bar should be
this one
fully at the right. You come with your bump and your feet close to the bike.
not in the seat not the upper of the seat down the seat
More or less in the middle. A bit higher because you cannot start from such a bent situation. So a little bit more above. Yeah. And I use my legs. I go backward. Is my stand out, guys? Very important when you do this technique. And it's done.
80% you will save the you can take the bike
For the
It's
front.
your luck if your bike falls in like in totally mud situation totally sand then you
Then you
have
will
to
need
like more than 1 or 2 people
Yeah.
will need it
But
एक ज़्यादा एक जन होने से वो एटलीस्ट मतलब हाँ
এমন কথা বললো যে যেখানে পাহাড়ে আমার সঙ্গীরা বেরিয়ে গেছে বা তারা অনেক পেছনে আমি পড়ে গেছি
ये
তো
तो
এক
एक
সময় লাগবে তারা বেরিয়ে গেছে
In-
এবার ওই গ্র্যাভেল জায়গাটাতে
नहीं,
আমি
नहीं,
বুঝতে
Ah.
পারছি না।
in gravel and ice, the front technique is more efficient than this one.
Front
Because with
technique,
this one, it's very good for big bikes. For big adventure bike is the best technique. But if you have gravel or ice, you will just put the bike backwards because there is no grip for the wheels, obviously. Let's start the exercises, please. What you should
one by one please
one by one. First technique number 1, then technique number 2. Let him do. Explain. What do you do first?
technique number 1
Yes, very correct. He pulls the bar in the other direction. He kneels, his feet at both sides of the.
no.
Little bit more forward.
पैर आगे दीजिए पैर 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 पैर
Yep. Yes, very good.
ये पैर आगे
And
दीजिए
open.
और थोड़ा open
Oh,
कीजिए।
stop. Very good. Now you're fine. You see how much he's in front. Huh? Go forward. Very good.
easily हो गया
One thing, in the first part, you should try to you did it correctly, but block a little bit more your the lower part of your back. You did it in very one smooth movement, and the upper body was already working before the legs finish their work, because the bike is not too heavy. So it's good, but try to dissociate the first movement. The first one is just vertical with the legs. The second one, the last 20% is with the upper body. He did it, I would say, 40-50% with the legs, and immediately he started already, and immediately he was doing that. Good, fine. It's only one time. He will not break his back. But if you do that regularly, you could have problem in your.
Just थोड़ा रुक के मतलब
So-
ये आपका पैर का काम यहाँ पे खत्म हो गया थोड़ा रुक के उसके बाद आराम से बैठ जाना
Yes, you lock the bike correct. You go in front of the bike, left and right. You kneel. A little bit more forward with your legs. Yes. Lock your back now in straight position, and push your legs. Push. 1, 2, 3. Go. Yes, yes, yes. And only at the end. And only at the end, he's used his upper body. Very good. Nice boots. Not there. Because your legs will do the effort. Yes, now it's right. Yes. You take it, good. Now you push it backwards. Push, push, push with your bump. Push backwards with your bump. Pull the bike backwards. Pull, yes. Contact, contact with the seat. Contact. No, contact. No, contact. Put it back. There is no contact. You need contact with the seat. Your bump needs. Your bump. Show your beautiful bump to everybody. Okay. I cannot. I should not be able to put my hand between his. Okay. Good. 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 Just these two techniques are proven to save your back. If you're very, very sure. If you want to apply another technique or your technique, or you do it, but you know that you risk to hurt your back.
এই জায়গাটার নাম হচ্ছে প্রজেক্ট এসআর প্লেগ্রাউন্ড। অ্যাকচুয়ালি এই জায়গাটা হচ্ছে হুগলি ডিস্ট্রিক্ট না, এটা এটা হুগলি ডিস্ট্রিক্টের মধ্যে পড়ছে অ্যাকচুয়ালি। তো তোমরা গুগলে এসআর প্লেগ্রাউন্ড দিলে তোমরা সবাই পেয়ে যাবে। আর আমাদের কেটিএম অর্গানাইজেশন থেকে যে টোটাল পুরো ব্যাপারটাতে আমাদের ট্রেনিং দিয়েছেন, জাস্ট ক্যামেরার পেছনেই রয়েছে, আমি আসছি, ফিলিপ স্যার। আমি কথাও বলাবো। অবভিয়াসলি আমাদের ট্রেনিংয়ের যা যা ছিল সেগুলো আমি অলরেডি রেকর্ড করেছি। তো যাই হোক, আমাদের অলরেডি লাঞ্চ হয়ে গেল। তো লাঞ্চ হয়ে যাবার সবাই আস্তে আস্তে বেরিয়ে যাচ্ছে। তো আমি মাঝখানে ড্রোন শটও নিলাম। সবাই এখন প্র্যাকটিক্যাল মানে সবাই ট্রেনিং করছিল। তো আমাদের পুরো ব্যাপারটাতে থিওরিক্যাল যা যা ছিল সেগুলো শুনলাম, তারপরে প্র্যাকটিক্যালও ছিল। বাট আনফর্চুনেটলি আমাদের ওয়েদার আমার পার্সোনালি সাথে দেয়নি। তো আমি একটু শরীর খারাপ লাগছিল, আমি একটু রেস্ট নিয়েছি। তো যাই হোক, আজকে এক্সট্রিমলি হট ওয়েদার টুডে অ্যাকচুয়ালি। সো তার মধ্যে আমরা শেষ করলাম। তো জায়গাটা নো ডাউট খুব ভালো, বাট আমরা নেক্সট টাইম আরেকবার ট্রাই করব। আর ফিলিপ স্যার কিছু বলবেন অ্যাবাউট দিস ট্রেনিং সেশন অ্যান্ড
So it was the second bronze academy level that we organized with KTM here in Kolkata. The weather was very different compared to last time. It was winter and the temperature was very, very nice. It was warm but not so heat, not so hot. Today it's extremely difficult, as I said, due to the humidity of 70, 80 or 90%, I don't know. The 30 degrees felt like 50 degrees at least. And it was a bit of a struggle to keep focus, not only for me, but also for the participants at these extreme temperature and felt temperatures. It's very difficult to focus all the time. But we had a great time together, and I hope that all the participants enjoyed it. And secondly, enjoy fun. Having fun is very important, but also that they learned how to master better their bike in any possible situation. And the drills that we are putting there on the track are all specific situations that one or another day you will face when you're on an adventure journey. So it's better to do it in theory here, surrounded with professionals who can help you how to do it, so that next time you or with your friends you're on the trails, you master easily these tackles that you will see.
তো আমাদের এইবার ফেরার পালা। আমাদের ট্রেনিং প্রোগ্রাম শেষ হয়ে গেছে, লাঞ্চ সবাই করে নিয়েছে, সবাই আস্তে আস্তে একই রাস্তায় আমরা সবাই ব্যাক করছি। তো আমাদের এই ব্লগে এখানেই শেষ করছি। তোমরা অবশ্যই ভালো ভালো আরও রাইডিং এক্সপিরিয়েন্সের জন্য অবশ্যই আমাদের চ্যানেল সাবস্ক্রাইব করো। নেক্সট ব্লগের জন্য ওয়েট করো। চলো আজকের জন্য টাটা।